The 2023 Auburn football schedule runs a little bit something like this. UMass as the opener, at Cal week 2, Samford, and then at Texas A&M for the SEC opener on September 23rd. Remember the Georgia game earlier this year. It will be September 30th. That will be at home in Jordan-Hare. Then the off week at the first week of October, return to action at LSU, Ole Miss at home, Mississippi State at home, at Vanderbilt, at Arkansas, New Mexico State at home, and then the Iron Bowl is at home. It is an odd year, Auburn. So he is showing up at the opportune time, at least until conference expansion. We'll still be living in this world where in all the odd years, Auburn gets Georgia and Alabama at home. That's when everything gets a little bit spooky. So it's only added a little bit of interest, as now it will also be the debut for Hugh Freeze at Auburn, but the return for Hugh Freeze to an SEC where he did enter and do a whole lot of winning for a couple of years before ultimately bowing out or being replaced as head coach amidst scandal. So again, the non-conference, UMass at Cal, Samford, New Mexico State. The cross division is at Vanderbilt. And then, of course, your Georgia game is at home. Your Alabama game is at home. Your other home games in division play, Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Your road games, Texas A&M, LSU, and Arkansas. So I know, but I know you would so much rather have the roster set. I know that you would.
No. I think we can do this.
Yeah, I think that this is the fun and reckless thing to do, is to try and set a record expectation right now with a lot of things left to change. When do we think Auburn goes in 2023?
All right, so I actually think that Hugh Freeze, if you gave him the truth serum, there's probably a lot of things you want to ask Hugh Freeze if you gave him the truth serum. But if you gave it to him and you asked him about this Auburn schedule, he'd probably say he wants this in 2024, because by that point he should have his team better and more ready. I think in year one, you'd rather play Georgia and Bama on the road, because you're probably going to lose those games either way, right? I mean, you lost by, 30-something, I think, to Georgia, and 23, I think it was, to Bama this weekend. It's hard to see them closing the gap on those two teams in 1 year, unless Saban retires or something like that. And if he does, Chip, we're going to have a really good December as far as numbers, man. That'd be pretty revolutionary for us. But the downside of having those two games as two of your home games means that your SEC road games are at A&M, at LSU, right? You get the two Mississippis at home, so you have to go to Arkansas as well, and then you have to go to Vanderbilt. The other one away from home is...
That's it.
Yeah, okay. So here's the thing. If Hugh Freeze does work in the transfer portal, they will be a significant favorite over Vanderbilt. They will probably be a slight underdog at Arkansas. If he does a really good job and spends all this money Auburn allegedly has in the transfer portal. Slight underdog at Auburn. Probably a touchdown dog or more at LSU. Assuming that A&M gets its act together, and A&M firing the OC today with a really short statement. I don't know if you saw that. It was like 2 lines. Like, we thank Dale Dickey for his service. He's relieved of his duties. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's also how many, the number
so
of words
dogs there.
Yeah, the number of words in that statement is how many times he got to call a play. One word for every play call that he was allowed to do as offensive coordinator.
Here's your buyout. Thanks for the game planning, right? Yeah. And Jimbo throws you under the bus. So you're 3-0 or 2-1 in the non-conference. You're not losing to UMass or Samford. At Cal, you will be favored. Cal was very young this year, so there's some chance that Cal could be problematic. I'm not going to give them like a 100% chance, but they'll probably be double digits at Cal if I had to think, right? At A&M, you're a dog. Georgia, you are a pretty good dog at home, given what Georgia's roster is. At LSU, you're a dog. Ole Miss at home, probably a coin flip, right? I mean, those rosters are kind of similar. Ole Miss beat them this year. Auburn did move the ball on them some. Mississippi State at home, probably Auburn's slight favorite, assuming Freeze does some work in the portal. At Vandy, if you do work in the portal, you are a decent favorite. At Arkansas, slight dog, I think. New Mexico State's a win, so you got a really cakewalk non-conference schedule.
I mean, it's 4 wins in the non-con.
Yeah, I would say that Auburn will go somewhere between 6-6 and 10-2, which is a huge range.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean,
that is the Auburn range, though.
It is. But but not this year. They went 5-7, right? So the floor for this team, because of the schedule, because you draw Vanderbilt from the East, which again, no disrespect to Vanderbilt, they actually won 2 SEC games this year. They're still going to power rate as the worst SEC team by a good bit. So I think you have very good feel that you're getting back to a bowl game and probably a good bit more.
Auburn just traded Penn State for Cal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you change the floor from 5-7 to 6-6. Auburn goes 4-0 in the non-con at Texas A&M, Georgia, LSU. It's like this is why it's like the perfect season, because you're going to start with 3 wins and you're going to be riding hot. You're really excited. Little bit of a cool down with Texas A&M and Georgia. You go to the break. You come out of the break at LSU. Maybe you stun them. You probably don't. Now, all of a sudden, you're sitting at 3-3 in the middle of October. But then comes that run that you just mentioned, both the Mississippis, which, by the way, not only is the visit from Ole Miss, Hugh Freeze against Ole Miss, but it's Lane against the Auburn team. Were you going to go? It's sign me. I am not in charge of anything as it pertains to CBS still has one more year of SEC. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the SEC on CBS Game of the Week. I have no idea what the rest of the schedule looks like, but the narratives around that game are fantastic. But I could see Auburn winning Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. Now all of a sudden you're 6-3. At Arkansas, you're right. They might be a slight dog, but here's where I go into my classic year one coach into the season. Going to be playing a little bit better. Everything started to click. You finally are starting to get into the rhythm of the offense. You go and you win that. Then you beat New Mexico State. This Auburn team could show up to the Iron Bowl at home 8-3. That seems to be like the sunniest outlook for Auburn under Hugh Freeze year one.
I mean, I could paint you a 10-2.
Let's go.
All right. Let's say Bama doesn't bounce back, right? Maybe Saban doesn't get a new offensive coordinator because they can't find a new home for Bill O'Brien, or maybe the new one he hires isn't quite as good. Maybe whoever plays quarterback for them is a major step down from Bryce Young, and the program slide, which we've kind of seen on the field the last couple of years somewhat, but definitely showed up this year. Maybe that continues. So maybe they lose like Georgia and at LSU, but really improve. Hugh Freeze did beat Arkansas this year as the head coach at Liberty. Now, granted, I think that was largely because Arkansas's quarterback was hurt and Liberty was a total overlook spot for Arkansas, but it's possible, right? And then maybe you beat Alabama at home and Auburn boosters and fans just go totally nuts. This is so hard to do right now because we do not know exactly what Auburn is going to do in the portal or what any of these teams are going to do. I mean, maybe Auburn goes out and signs like 6 members of the all Sun Belt team and plucks 2 kids from the Pac-12 and a couple, ACC studs and runs a transfer portal payroll of like $8 million. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to put it past them. They could.